A summer day in Seattle means warm temperatures and people like Jeannie Oliver enjoying her lunch break outdoors at Gasworks Park.
It's just so iconic, Seattle. I love it. And you can see everyone just enjoying themselves, the seaplanes coming in.
Oliver moved to Seattle from Southern California in the early 90s, and it didn't take long for her to notice symptoms she never had before.
I was definitely sneezing all the time, a lot. And I didn't necessarily have a lot of post-nasal drip, but I would wake up really congested and have to blow my nose all the time.
Her active lifestyle was a natural fit for the Pacific Northwest, but her body had a different reaction to the outdoors.
I was just spending more time outdoors, doing more outdoor sports, and then I would get incredibly itchy eyes to the point where, I was having to use allergy eye drops constantly, and I was always itchy, and it was affecting my vision.
Oliver, who is a functional nutritionist and wellness coach, knew her body was allergic to something, and it was starting to impact her life. An allergist confirmed it was pollen allergies.
He did the skin prick testing and looked at all the different things, and there were several tree pollens that I was reacting to. Molds were big, but yeah, the pollens really showed up.
At UW Medicine, clinical assistant professor of allergy and immunology, Dr. Jenny Yi Sun says Oliver's story of developing allergies after moving to a new part of the country is common.
When the body sees something that they eventually develop allergies to, there are allergy cells that line our airways, that line our nasal tract, that once they see that allergen, essentially release histamine, and that's one of the chemicals in the body that causes these wonderful symptoms that can impact a patient's quality of life.
Every year, Dr. Sun says some of her patients complain their allergies are getting more bothersome, and new research supports they're likely feeling the effects of climate change.
The temperatures are getting warmer, the rainy seasons are getting a bit longer as well, so that not only increases the length of pollen seasons, but also increases the amount of overlap. So that's probably part of the reason, at least, why allergies are getting worse for some people.
Here in the Pacific Northwest, our temperate climate is just right for pollen, which usually peaks at the low 50-degree mark. We know plants generate energy through photosynthesis, a process that needs sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. Our atmosphere has carbon dioxide naturally, but as people burn more fossil fuels like gasoline in cars or coal in power plants, we're putting more carbon dioxide in the air. More carbon dioxide means more heat is trapped in the Earth's atmosphere, creating the greenhouse effect. For plants and trees, that warmth leads to more growth and more pollen.
When you add extra heat to our Earth system, it shakes things up in some big ways. The most obvious is that we see our weather changing.
That's Bernadette Woods-Plackey at Climate Central, a nonprofit climate research organization. As our climate warms, all 4 seasons are warming up too, but at different rates across the country. This map shows which season is getting warmer the fastest in the U.S. For most of the East Coast, the blue dots show winter is getting warmer quicker than other seasons. And for us in the Pacific Northwest, the yellow dots indicate it's the summer season.
For our specific analysis, we looked at about 170 cities around the U.S., and 85% of those cities experienced a lengthening allergy season.
Research published in the scientific journal PNAS suggests human-caused climate warming was the main reason of lengthening pollen seasons. Compared to 30 years ago, the pollen season is starting on average 20 days earlier and lasting for almost a month longer.
When you start to see the ground bud, that is happening earlier and earlier. On the opposite side in the fall, when you get that first freeze, that's happening later and later. So you're growing that growing season.
If the rate of carbon dioxide emissions continue, the U.S. could face up to a 200% increase in pollen production by the end of the century. In Seattle, our pollen count is provided by the Northwest Asthma and Allergy Center. They measure pollen with a special machine on top of their roof in Northgate.
Called a Burkhardt sampler.
Dr. Frank Virant says the machine gets moved around by the wind. In this small intake, the pollen comes in and attaches itself to a slide. That slide is then taken to the lab and analyzed 3 times a week where pollen count is recorded.
But these are good examples of the kinds of pollens that we'll typically see. Often these that have 3 corners like this, as is labeled here. This is maple, poplar, elm as an example.
As temperatures are warming, the pollen emitted by different trees and grasses are also overlapping more often.
Doesn't seem to be going anywhere soon.
For Oliver, whether it's a day at the park or conversations with her clients,
It's definitely starting earlier. It's very noticeable. People are complaining earlier in the spring, later into the fall.
the warmer weather means Seattleites get to enjoy those cherished summer days longer, but the hotter temperatures raise the burden for allergy sufferers who likely won't be catching a break if the climate change trends continue.
Watch City Stream Tuesday nights at 7 on the Seattle Channel, or find us anytime online at seattle.gov.